there was ever any doubt that Rage Against the Machine is just a bunch of commie bullshit.
There you have it. Yeah, I mean, the actual the biggest communist country on the face of this planet is is
Well,
praising.
not the biggest, but the most aggressively, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I did think it was really funny how in 2020 people finally started to figure out that Rage Against the Machine was talking about political stuff with all of their stuff from like the 90s, and then
yeah.
at the same time they're coming out like everybody's starting to listen to Rage Against the Machine and be like, yeah, they're actually talking about like fuck the government. This is right. Let's get it. And then Rage Against the Machine's coming out like, no, no, no. Y'all need to
No,
pump the
no.
brakes. Like you actually need to do what the government says. They're the good guys. Like,
Yeah, to get the jab, do all this.
was,
Uh,
we really do live in the like somewhere. I guess
the simulation got broken at some point.
it's been hypothesized that it was when Harambe was killed, which we mourned. We poured one out for Harambe on Monday. Um, yeah, I mean that after that everything went. Around that time was when I cut my hair too, so that could have had something to do with it.
Like a
It was
butterfly effect.
it was like late because I had grown my hair out for like 3.5 years, and it was late 2019. It was in end of October of 2019 was when I cut my hair, and from that point on, everything just went downhill. So maybe
You should have kept. You gotta bring your mullet back. Yeah, that's what it is.
my hair was like Samson for the planet. And it was like I cut my hair, and then it just like all went to shit. I'm not mad about it. If I'm the reason that everything turned out the way it has, I'll take that. Well, what we got on the docket today? Speaking of some commie shit, or I guess not really commie shit, but we can jump in with this one. That we were talking about pre-show, because I think we can get a lot of traction out of this before we get into the more dumb stuff or the funny stuff, I guess. Migrants will be the mighty ones and no longer a minority in Germany. Amongst children under 10, about 40% already have a migration background, according to Zeit. Germany
No,
doesn't
I
want
don't
to
know much about Zeit. Like, I don't know what the organization is. I didn't really look into it before I sent that, but
And then
I'm wondering.
the really crazy thing about this is, I don't know anything about Zeit, but this is making it seem like it's a good thing. It's anything but like, and if you look at Europe as a whole, but especially in Germany, like they've really been going through some major struggles with their economy, with just their culture, stuff like that. Like, and what's really crazy to me is how so it's like, there were the theories and everything that or the legitimate conspiracy theories, not the ones that actually came true, the ones that were postulated out of actual research and stuff like that. But like the conspiracy theories that the jab was intended to like deliberately kill people off. It's
Yeah.
like, well, like to me, Carlos.
Perfect timing.
It's like Beetlejuice. Saying he pops up.
Immigration, and all of a sudden he's there.
So like there was the theory that the jab was deliberately going to kill people, and I was like, that how does that make sense though? Because the people who are going to get it are the ones that you want, because they're the compliant ones. Like then you're killing off your most compliant,
Loyal base, yeah.
your most loyal base, right? Like you would think they would be trying to find a way to kill off the people who don't want to get it, because those are the ones who are going to be a problem. So like I don't understand
The actual virus. I think that was more like the actual virus was potentially for that, and then they were hoping that you would be compliant enough.
Oh,
That
have you heard my theories on that? Me and Mark did I think it was before you joined the show, because it was me and Mark had talked about it. So my theory on that was that the public health care system is bankrupt, right? Like we
Mhm.
know that it's bankrupt.
Yeah.
Well, carrying all these people who are fucking old and have lived longer than they should have, and they're carrying all these people with like a million comorbidities that shouldn't be alive anyway. So they're just like, all
Yeah.
right, put this thing out. We're gonna wipe the books clean. We're gonna get rid of all these old fuckers. We're gonna get rid of all these sick fuckers, and then we can just start over fresh without carrying all this dead weight.
Yeah.
I think it was a like a I think it was a legitimately planned thing, but it wasn't to it was to clean books on the
I mean, you got these
public.
80-year-olds that are stuck in the hospital, and that's all they're ever gonna be. So you unleash something that's gonna just
There you go.
finally knock them out, and then
Like,
that way you don't have to sit there and pay for them anymore. Like,
right.
it's,
It was a controlled culling of the undesirables and not the not the MAGA redneck types, like the ones who are just a leech on the system. And it was fairly effective. I mean, they probably could have pumped those numbers up a bit and done a little bit more good for society. But whatever, they did it. They did it pretty.
I mean, it wasn't the final solution. It was probably like a
We're like two
what do you
steps away. We're getting there.
yeah.
So anyway, back to Germany and like all the like all the immigration stuff. Like there's this deliberate like bringing in all of these immigrants thing in Europe, especially all of these like Middle Eastern Middle Eastern immigrants. Like I don't understand the purpose of it because
They're saving the refugees from like Syria
right.
or
Well,
whatever.
I mean, I get all that, but what I'm saying is like if the World Economic Forum and the whole New World Order want to push this like pro LGBTQAI plus agenda and all of this like one world government type stuff and everything like that, bringing in Muslims is the absolute wrong way to go about pushing your agenda forward. They are not on board with the Alphabet Brigade. They are not on board with any kind of one world government, unless the one world government is theirs and it's Sharia law. Like
Well, you saw that with in
this is a
London.
poor choice of like immigrants to bring in. Like you can't like you're seeing it all over the place. Like,
Well, I
fuck,
mean, particularly in London though, because like they tried to they had this they have all their crazy laws in London about like you can't speak out against the LGBT or whatever, and then but they also like they were bringing a bunch of like the Muslim immigrants, and then they tried to implement some of that stuff on their schools of like teaching like, oh, we need to be inclusive, like there may be people with two mommies or two daddies or whatever, and then all of a sudden the Muslim parents are like outraged, and so then they had to dial it back, and they're like, oh, we're not meaning to offend the Muslim community, so like they don't want to offend them, and then they also don't want to offend the like alphabet mafia. So like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place because of the situation that they've created. And then not to mention like your country, like your country's like safety is going to crap because like they got the grooming gangs and stuff like that, like, with the Muslim who are trying to find whatever women they can get, and basically like take them and do traffic them or whatever. And you don't, who knows like like what that country is going to be like if they continue down that path, and that's where they have to have someone who comes in and says like, okay, we're gonna clamp down on this, like this, we can't continue doing this, like because continually like replacing your population. And this is something that like Oren McIntyre has said. Like what they're trying to do is they're trying to treat every country as simply an economic zone, and not like where economic transactions take place, and not as a country with a people with a set of beliefs and in their own identity. And that's basically what the agenda has kind of become. But it doesn't seem to be working in a lot of places because those values, the new values that they want to do like implement are conflicting with a lot of the older values of some of these like established countries and established systems, and the people there don't align with it.
There we go. I found it. There was a. I'm going to talk about this at some point. I'm going to do an actual show of do an episode of my show where I cover this. It's on the back burner right now because I've got some other stuff that I have found that I feel is more pressing. But I'll go away. This one, it's an article from the Guardian and says
I remember
Muslims
this.
and LGBTQ people should stand together, not fight each other. Granted, it's old and
Yeah, I remember
it's
seeing
very
this
old,
one.
and that's why I've backburnered it because it is so old. But it's like it's a it's kind of a beautiful painting of just how like tone deaf the people who are pushing all of that like ultra progressive agenda are to the actual culture of like Islam and what those people believe. And like it's insane. Like uh, and that's why I don't understand. See, that's what leads me to believe who was it that's attributed with the quote don't don't attribute to malice that which could be explained by ignorance. Like that's why
Incompetence. Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that a lot of this stuff that gets painted as some big like evil conspiracy is actually some big evil conspiracy because a lot like like we were talking about with the shot, like with this immigration stuff, the way they're going about doing this is the most ass backwards way you could do stuff. It's like sometimes Sean in there will do something. And I'm like, did you just think of like the worst possible way to do this and run with it? Like, did you not think this through? And that's how I feel about some of these like World Economic Forum and our government, like the plans that they put in place and the shit they do. I'm like, did y'all just like put a bunch of bad ideas on a board and throw a sticky ball at it and whatever it hit, that was what you went with? Like, what is going on? And the people who are planning the end of the world are doing a pretty shitty job of it.
Well, that's like that's sort of I know like whenever I've seen Jason talk like recently, he's kind of been on that is like the what's gonna win out is just being competent. Like if the people who are competent are gonna win out because like this whole system is like they're just completely inept. Like and they don't have a direction. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know. They're literally just trying to like you said, just throw something and see what they can actually land. It doesn't have any cohesive plan. Because here's what gets me is if they had a real cohesive plan, they would have like Trump wouldn't even be in the equation at this point. Like they wouldn't have him. They would have done something to be able to curb Ron DeSantis. Like if they really view him as a threat. Like there would have been like systems in place to stop all of those kind of things from happening.
That's where the ignorance thing comes in. I think I think I've talked about this before too. Like my theory was that after Dwight D. Eisenhower left office and his exit speech, they realized, holy shit, we can't leave the presidency up to actual popular vote because then you get somebody like him in there that's going to try to blow the top on everything. So we've got to control who's in. So everything from there on was a rigged election to some extent or another, except for JFK, which was rigged not by them.
Mostly by the media. I mean, obviously, like it wasn't rigged in the in the end result of like counting votes. Not like 2020. Like, well, let's not
We're not saying that.
We're not saying that it was. Like they speculate, like the speculation is.
See, I think the only legitimate elections were JFK and Trump in 16, because I think in 16, I think the behind the scenes string pullers saw Trump and thought, this guy is such a buffoon. This is such a
He
joke.
can't win.
We
There's
don't
no
even.
way. Like,
I mean, like Hillary was polling anywhere from 80 to
like
90%. Like they
yeah.
thought there's no fucking way. So we don't even have to do anything. Like, hey, we
They
get a year,
underestimated how much people hate Hillary.
we get a year off. We get to sit this one out and just watch it go. We don't even have to get involved. Like they're toasting each other and like hell, lighting up the cigars. Like hell yeah, we didn't even have to work for this one. Uh, so like, and then then the pandemic, I don't think they expected the pushback. I think ignorance has won out for those in charge. Like they they are so out of touch with reality that they just can't comprehend that people aren't just going to bend over and be like,
blindly.
all right, yeah, be like, all right, I'll wear I'll wear 7 masks, and you can give me a suppository to help control my emissions, and stick me 75 times with all of this experimental bullshit, and
And implement a social credit score so that I
yeah,
can only
like,
buy so much
I think
meat.
they underestimated how much people would push back on that. And you're seeing it in Europe. You're seeing it in Sweden, France, Italy, like Germany. It doesn't get talked about a whole lot. The only thing that really gets talked about is the amount of immigration that they've got. But there are huge, like, right wing nationalist movements that are popping up all across Europe that are pushing back against this stuff. And like, granted, it doesn't get any press here in the U.S. And you have to really kind of go look for some like fringe sites to find it even in Europe, because they try to suppress it. But like, people are not happy with this shit, and they're pushing back against it. So like, I think um, we may be looking at the potential of a rise of uh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to necessarily call it like um, a new national socialism type, or national socialist party type of a thing in Germany and across Europe, but it's going to be something very similar if something doesn't give here pretty quick.
I don't think it'll necessarily be like national socialism that'll win out, but like it'll definitely be something that's national based, because like you want that national identity. Like they want to have their national identity, and they're tired of it being basically stripped away because you just allow whoever and whatever to happen. Um, that's the thing, is it's it's going to come from there's going to be some kind of counter to what's going on. I don't know. I think the U.S. is the last place that's actually going to get this, though, which is the weird thing. Like we're normally first in everything. That's kind of what we've kind of prided ourselves on, is being like the first, like America the first, blah blah blah. But I don't think we're going to be the first in this scenario, because it's clear that other countries are way more fed up with this. We're way more comfortable with, like, okay, well, our they're pouring over our southern border. Well, who cares, right? Like we've gotten accustomed to just ignoring that kind of stuff, um, and just kind of letting it go. Especially because it's like, oh well, we still get cheap food, and we get this and that, and so it's just kind of like, who cares? Who cares if we have a million people crossing the border a day? Like that's totally sustainable. I mean, I think honestly, it's funny. I think that Canada may be more equipped, like for something, for the pushback. Like now, I don't think it's necessarily going to be Canada's going to be the first, but I definitely think that like those kind of countries that have experienced that kind of stuff, people are getting fed up with Trudeau. In even in didn't Australia just pull out of? I mean, I think they did it for a woke reason or whatever, but they pulled out of the NWO, didn't they? Or
Uh,
Australia pulled out of something.
I don't remember. I know
They
there's
they pulled out of the WHO, and then there was some other thing that they pulled out of. But like those kind of countries, like they're going to eventually just fold like, because they're not going to be able to, like, you either can't sustain the level, the type of country that you need to have to be able to have this economic, like, activity that you want to have, or and you can't have can't have that economic activity without having like a cohesive culture backing that country.
I wanted to read something. This Leighton's the president likely does very little and is basically a figurehead to keep the population busy and lazy fighting about politics, when in reality the power comes from cultural manipulation. This is one of the most like on the nose quotes about a president that I've ever seen. President, full title, President of the Imperial Galactic Government. The term imperial is kept, though it is now an anachronism. The hereditary emperor is nearly dead and has been for many centuries. In the last moments of his dying coma, he was locked in a stasis field, which keeps him in a state of perpetual unchangingness. All his heirs are now long dead, and this means that without any drastic political upheaval, power has simply and effectively moved a rung or two down the ladder and is now seen to be vested in a body that used to act simply as advisors to the emperor. An elected governmental assembly headed by a president elected by that assembly. In fact, it vests in no such place. The president, in particular, is very much a figurehead. He wields no real power whatsoever. He is apparently chosen by the government, but the qualities he is required to display are not those of leadership, but those of finely judged outrage. For this reason, the president is always a controversial choice, always an infuriating but fascinating character. His job is not to wield power, but to draw attention away from it. On those criteria, Zaphod Beeblebrox is one of the most successful presidents the galaxy has ever had. He has already spent 2 of his 10 presidential years in prison for fraud. Very, very few people realize that the president and the government have virtually no power at all, and all of these few and of these few people, only 6 know whence ultimate political power is wielded. Most of the others secretly believe that the ultimate decision-making process is handled by a computer. They couldn't be more wrong. That is from there we go. That is from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the official definition of the galactic president.
That's hilarious. Because I mean, it is in a lot of ways like they you know they're so limited in what they can do that it does become like a restraint to like we made it as a restraint to power, but now it's so restraining that what does it matter and why are we and that's kind of why we're seeing the local elections are having a lot like the state, if you have a good governor, like if you have Ron DeSantis as your governor, it's changing a lot more than the having the president be for your party or whatever.
Well, and to the point of them being a controversial figure or something like there's a lot of truth to that
Yeah.
little snippet. Think of them being a controversial figure, somebody that's there for the
A
lights.
firebrand.
So Reagan, think of the presidents in our lifetime. Reagan was a movie star, like literally a movie star. And then you had the first Bush, which was unimpressive. But then you get Bill Clinton, who, I mean, he was mired in controversy before he ever ran for president. Like his time as governor in Arkansas, there was all kinds of crazy shit, that surrounded him. And then you get the whole 2000 election with, everything that went on with that. And then you get Bush and his history and past and everything about him. And then you get the complete clown show that is the Obama years. And then you got Trump, and now you've got Biden. I mean, and what have any of them done? What have any of them actually done? Aside from a few executive orders that ended up getting overturned.
I would say the main thing was Obamacare getting passed, but then then it basically got repealed, but it didn't get fully repealed. So it's weird. Like that was the one weird thing is Obamacare got passed and then they kind of repealed it, but they kind of didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's probably the only real policy change that's happened. And the only major difference is what is their level of enforcement on certain actions. So Biden is focused on whatever domestic extremism and this kind of stuff, and that's his kind of focus. And so supposedly we're not supposed to be having as much domestic extremism, at least on one side. But
right. They cut down on the right wing extremism, and now we get all the LGBTQ extremism. So did you really accomplish anything? turns out it's going to happen if you what's the yin and the yang thing? Like it's all going to balance itself out. Like if you get rid of one, then the other one's going to the fulcrum is just going to shift.
Yeah.
How do they not understand this? You need even keeled violence across the board. Everybody needs to be just
everybody
a little
fighting
bit
everybody.
That's right. Everybody needs to be a little bit violent with everybody. That way, you don't get one side being extreme and the other side being too peaceful. Everybody needs to knock each other around from time to time.
Well, that's why we have our diverse neo-Nazis for.
Yes, the Patriot Act was a million times worse than Obamacare. Obamacare was, the argument could be made that they're equally bad, but in drastically different ways. I may need to do I think I should do a
like comparison.
yeah,
I mean, like
of what the two did because they neither
Obamacare destroyed our healthcare industry. Like it was already sucked, but like it really did finish off like what little was good about our healthcare industry.
Right. Whereas the Patriot Act destroyed any right to privacy, and
yeah.
So like they're equally bad, but in very different ways. Yeah. Bring up our neo-Nazi who plowed his truck into the White House. You know, like if this dude was actually a neo-Nazi, they wouldn't have let him off the hook. But here we are.
yeah. So who plowed truck into the White House gates to kill Biden, planned a rambling coup speech that announced the end of U.S. democracy, threatened adversaries with the death penalty, and signed off with the Nazi. Oh God, they like the writing for this is really pitiful. Honestly, like they should have had a little bit more preparation go into this one.
Just somebody with somebody with a nuanced vision of narrative to like write this thing up and make it seem a little more realistic. And where is he?
He said my message, despite his failed attack, he told a Secret Service agent my message was received, and I think he's getting off. Like he's only going to have to stay a couple days.
Hold on, go back. There was nothing in the truck, was there?
In the truck, there was the.
I mean, there was a Nazi flag, but I didn't.
I don't think there was anything else in the truck. No.
I thought the truck was empty. Yeah, there's the. Go scroll up a little bit or down a little bit, down further.
Okay.
All right, so here's the video of him ramming the gate. Like he's at a dead stop. It's and then he lurches forward and just smashes it. So okay, number one, he's not ramming anything. Like you get a full head of steam and you hit that shit if you're going to ram something. And then scroll down a little bit further.
Okay. Yeah.
Keep going. There you go. So you can get a good look inside the back of the truck right there. Like there's literally nothing in there. There's a
he's got some
there's a
hand
dolly.
trucks.
Yeah, there's a dolly in there, and that's it. Like there's nothing in the truck. So like
he was gonna put Biden on the dolly. He's gonna tie him up. He's probably got some rope in there. He's gonna tie him up.
He's gonna probably a regular Biden Wednesday night. Like they strap him up to the dolly. They carry him somewhere. They give him his weekly injections and stuff to make sure that he's coherent for the next couple days, or at least upright. Like this whole what did he say that he was going to kill Biden and start a coup to overtake the government? And like, dude, you don't even have any
leverage. Yeah,
nothing. There's nothing in your truck. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to run in with waving a Nazi flag and everybody's just going to give up?
I mean, even if he had like even if he was going to like had something strapped to him, let's just say, and he was gonna trip the switch at any point. Dude, at the end of the day, does it really matter if he does that, even if he has Biden? Like, I mean, because the government's, the structure, everything else is. I mean, it's gonna send a message for sure, but like, does the overall function of the government, like, is that actually gonna overthrow, quote unquote, the government? No.
Like, literally nobody was hurt. He didn't even get that close to the White House. He was still like 800 feet away. I think is what it said. Like he was still almost 3 football fields away. Like he didn't get that close.
I like this. I mean, accurate.
Did he have a weapon? Like it says that he was.
No.
The charges that were dropped was he was arrested and charged with assault with a dangerous weapon, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, threatening to kill, kidnap, or inflict harm on the president, vice president, or family member, and destruction of federal property and trespassing. Did anything get destroyed? Like there was some damage to a post, but nothing really got destroyed. He didn't actually have a weapon. I mean, mostly it was.
I mean, he didn't even break the gate. Like the gate that he hit, it didn't even break. So I don't know what the angle is there. Like if he didn't even break the gate, like what do you have to charge him with? I mean,
and I didn't know India had a neo-Nazi problem. Like that seems interesting all on its own. Oh, that's why the truck was empty. He just dropped off everybody from Patriot Front at the Waffle House, and then he drove over. He got confused. He thought he was supposed to go ram the gate, and then they were going to come running in behind him.
Yeah, they were going to jump out, and
yeah.
they weren't there with him.
He didn't realize they had already gotten out. I mean, darn, he just had his timing off. That's what it was.
Yeah, see, he probably just ate Waffle House, and he got back in the truck, and then Patriot Front like stayed behind, like they got in a bar fight, they got in a Waffle House fight.
Somebody was fighting with a cook, and they were all standing around cheering it on. He got in the truck and went ahead and left. He thought they were like coming with him.
That's
Lord. It's getting a little bit too ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, AOC is like the queen of being fucking ridiculous. AOC in a Twitter tizzy warns followers over a parody account mocking her. I'm pretty sure this account spawned during Dennis Weekend and came out of Dennis Weekend because
yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he tried something else too. There was he tried another politician
because when it popped up, it was one of them that I was already following with my Dennis and had been retweeting with my Dennis account. So this is one of the Dennis's.
A fellow denizen.
What was the tweet that went viral that she was like screeching because she said, FYI, there's a fake account on here impersonating me and going viral. It's releasing false policy statements and gaining spread.
And then they said like like there was like a quote tweet of that tweet too that from that account that said like, so true, girl, that they need to stop impersonating. Wait, let's see the quote tweet.
Well, and then the parody account, the AOC press release parody, responded and said, after brainstorming with my staff, I'm going to push Congress to make it illegal to joke, laugh, or make fun of me.
Yeah.
Here we go.
No, where's
like
the...
if nothing else comes out of Dennis Weekend, there were some incredible trolls that were had.
Oh, the parody account even tweeted the same thing that AOC tweeted out. Because there we go. No, here's the quote. Okay. No wonder. Oh, that was the one. There's the fake NAACP account that's been going around.
Oh, the fake NAACP one is good too. And then there's a fake. We were talking about it the other day. I think the fake New York or North Carolina Democrats.
Yeah,
that one's really good too. Yeah, this is. There's a fake Liz Cheney account that's agreeing with AOC and like retweet or agreeing with the AOC parody and like retweeting like the the chain reaction of all of the different parody accounts, then like uh, liking, commenting, and retweeting each other, and just creating this like firestorm uh, nonstop like parody, creating the or rolling the snowball up bigger for the parodies, and everybody just keeps finding these things, and the people, especially the people who aren't in on the joke, like AOC herself, like just getting all pissed off about it. It's fucking hilarious. Like that, this is what the internet was meant to be. Whoever, whenever Al Gore created the internet, I'm sure he wanted it to be a place of serious conversation, but this is what it always should have been.
I'm excited the debt deal increases welfare from that account. I'm excited the debt deal increases welfare. My abuela can finally fix her house and not ask me for money.
Jay Forte's right here. He said, "Watch, they're going to try to arrest this parody account." Ricky Vaughn was the precedent set. I mean,
yeah.
whenever they put a guy in jail for making a meme, that's when you know they're legitimately killing off human. Sorry, I had to scream at a kid. Come closer. Come closer so I can spear your ass.
If you could milk a cow and get fat-free organic almond milk, I wouldn't complain about their farm. So.
See, with all of the parodies going around, it really made me like. I really had to question this one whenever I saw this.
Oh, no, that one's completely legit.
Yeah, it's completely legit. That's actually Planned Parenthood's account. Hang on, let me see if I can pause it. All right, so what we got? Gender affirming care, your right to birth control, and abortion. This has been a while ago. There was an article where some dude who was identifying as a trans woman was suing his doctor because his doctor wouldn't prescribe him birth control, and they didn't have any good explanation for him for what to do in the event of needing an abortion. It's like, motherfucker, you got a dick. You don't need birth control or an abortion. The birth control is you wear a condom. Like you're not. Oh, it's just we've hit the point of like peak stupidity. Like at some point, it's got to start coming back down. Either it has to start coming back down, or we're going full idiocracy and we're just going to burn this fucker to the ground. Well, I mean, I'm for either one, but like there's a certain level of ridiculousness that. Whew.
There's the one of the YouTubers that I watch a lot of his stuff for Romanian TV. He says that, like in Romania, they're just saying like the mother of idiots is always pregnant. I feel like that's true. I feel like that's true, especially here in the US. Like always, like they're gonna have it's the moral. It literally is idiocracy though, because there's like all the morons are having like 10 children, and then like the legitimately.
I am on record saying I am all for the dystopian future. Start it now, because one of the things that's always implemented in these dystopian futures is people aren't allowed to have kids without like going through an application process, and you've got to like win a lottery or something to qualify. Like, I think as soon as you hit puberty, they should tie tubes on both of them, and once you are like married and settled, you have to submit an IQ test. You have to go through an aptitude test. You have to prove a certain level of income. And then if you meet all of these specifications, then you can get your tubes untied, have everything reconnected, and you're free to have kids. But not until those, and the IQ test is number one. Like if you fail the IQ test, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking multimillionaire. Your ass doesn't get to have kids. Like it's like with when you're deer hunting and you see like a buck that has a really gnarly like bad rack on it. You call that fucker out, because bad racks breed more bad racks. You don't want that thing reproducing. It's the same with stupid people. Stupid people breed more stupid people. You need to call them fuckers out. Do humanity a service. I am kind of ready for this. I thought we were getting this in 2020 when like what was it? Red Lobster. There were a bunch of like the big name chain restaurants that were closing during 2020 during the pandemic, and it was like, oh shit, like the restaurant wars are starting. It's like it's only a matter of time before Demolition Man comes true and everything is Taco Bell.
I don't know how Taco Bell's gonna win that. Oh, imagine if it's KFC instead. Like
That's what. Well, KFC and what is it? It's
KFC's under that same company,
yeah,
yeah.
it's KFC, Taco Bell, and one other.
I think Pizza Hut.
Might be Pizza Hut.
I think it's Pizza Hut.
Or is it? What's the? It's the Yum Center, and because they're all headquartered.
They're all Yum brands, yeah.
Yeah, they're all headquartered out of Louisville.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's a KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and then apparently they also have some kind of Habit Burger Grill. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of the Habit Burger Grill. That's a new one on me.
KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell. I thought there were some others.
Yum brand supremacy.
Ah, that's what it was.
That's gonna be the variety that we get. We get the Yum brands, right? Everything's gonna be either Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, or this Habit Burger.
That's what it was. They used to have A&W and Long John Silver's, and then those broke off and became their own. Those broke off and became their own thing. Like that, it's their own combination. A&W root beer or the A&W restaurants and the Long John Silver's became its own separate entity, disconnected from the Yum brands. I knew there was something else that was like a big name thing that was attached to it, but
well, didn't they sell off? Didn't they basically pay like sell them off or whatever? Or
yeah, more or less they let them buy themselves out of their Yum brands contract and split off and become their own thing. I do like the A&W Long John Silver combo stores. Have you been to one of the Taco Bell or not Chick-fil-A? Taco Bell. We can get into Chick-fil-A. Have you been to one of the Taco Bell KFC combo stores?
Yeah, we got one just like here in the town here.
Man, I should not have the option to get a burrito supreme and a double
decker.
Like I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack before I even make it out the damn door.
Oh, they discontinued the double decker though, didn't they?
Oh, they keep bringing it back. They discontinue it and then they bring it back. It's one of those like it's like the McRib,
like seasonal.
Yeah.
It goes away. It's back.
It goes away for a while and then it comes back. That way you miss it when it's gone. It's one of those things like if it's on the menu all the time, then people are like, I don't want to eat this. I'm gonna die. but if it's you only have it for like a month and a half during the year, everyone's like, "Oh, it's back! Let's quick, go get it!" Like we're not gonna kill ourselves with this for just a month. Like if we're doing it every day, then it's a problem. But if just for a month, we're good. Speaking of KFC, so there was the whole uproar about the DEI stuff, which I looked at this and I had been through. Or I had looked at KFC's. What is this? This is their
diversity statement, diversity and inclusion
statement. It's their diversity statement, but this is effectively the same statement that they've had for the better part of 15 years. Like,
well, they did this, during the Obama years.
They tweaked this specifically for like the DEI thing, but this is effectively the exact same like inclusivity statement that they've had for a long time because they got a lot of pushback and a whole lot of bullshit over the gay stuff, which was never actually a legitimate thing anyway. Like
it was the online thing. It was just like it was people on Twitter were upset.
Right. Well, and even when there was all the shit coming out about Chick-fil-A being anti-gay and anti all of this, like there were even gay franchise owners who were like, Chick-fil-A is not anti-gay. Like I'm I'm a gay person and I own a number of
Chick-fil-A.
stores. Like
Yeah.
they're anything but anti-gay. Like this is all nonsense. So anyway, around that time was when they uh, was when
What's
they put
what's
together this
funny?
whole inclusivity statement anyway. So this has been around for a long time. They've just kind of rejiggered it to fit the wording of modern society, which I don't like that. But
Yeah.
it's not like they didn't really change or add anything with this. So like that part, I didn't think was like Chick-fil-A caving to wokeness. They still kind of have the same stance that they've always had as a company. But the Dan Casey stuff, that dude seems to be
Yeah,
losing his shit. Think
he's off the deep end.
you think he got the jab?
Oh, I know he did.
Some of our closing moments here, but a story that was shared with me by a dear friend who shared with me about a revival that was taking place at a church in Texas. And at that revival, on the front seat was an older African American man that was sitting there. And this young man got up that was there in that service, and he'd been so gripped with conviction about the racism that was in that local community in a small town in Texas that he took a shoe brush and he walked over to this elderly gentleman and he knelt on his knees and began to shine his shoes. And tears began to flow in that service. It was an attitude of conviction. So I invite folks to put some words to action here. And if we need to find somebody that needs to have their shoe shine, we need to just go right on over and shine their shoes. And whether they got tennis shoes on or not, maybe they got sandals on.
That looks super uncomfortable.
But there's a time in which we need to have, some personal action here. Maybe we need to give them a hug too, brother.
And some stock in Chick-fil-A.
But I bought about 1,500 of these, and I gave to all our Chick-fil-A operators and staff a number of years ago. And so any expressions of a contrite heart, of a sense of humility, a sense of shame, a sense of embarrassment, but yet with an apologetic heart, I think that's some of our.
It does kind of look like he has the palsy. The droop face. He can only talk out of one side of his mouth. Jeez.
I don't
like. It's funny though, the controversy, because I remember the original controversy, right? Like, so they were donating to the Salvation Army, and supposedly the Salvation Army was anti-gay, right? But then Salvation Army is now like super pro-gay. So like if they've still been donating to the Salvation Army is not anti-gay now. Like they're pro-gay and everything. So
they never were.
That's true too. But like they were saying like, oh, this person is from the Salvation Army. Like I don't know. Like they find one person that they can say like is potentially, and then that person just gets ousted, and then they reshuffle, and then all of a sudden the company is like super pro whatever, and then I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me how they want to target these companies, and then like it doesn't seem like there's nothing there. Like it's, see, like with the Bud Light thing, we know that Dylan Mulvaney was given commemorative cans. We've seen it, like there's like video evidence of like Dylan Mulvaney gets these commemorative cans for so like the boycott is legitimate. Like there's a legitimate reason. Like, oh well, like I used to drink the, like if someone says like, hey, I used to drink Bud Light, and then now they do this thing where they have a video of some giving like them sending commemorative cans to this this person who's is supposedly trans or whatever. So that's a legitimate thing. That's something we actually saw happen. It's not like something where it's like theorized, like, oh, we think that Salvation Army or Chick-fil-A is anti-gay, and then like there's some kind of like, oh, because they're gonna make you not like against the gays if you eat the Lord's chicken or whatever. Like it just doesn't make like there's no logical like sense about their boycotts versus like the boycotts that we've seen recently. Oh, there is Target, there is tuck friendly whatever, oh, like kids swimwear, and it's like no, we don't do that, so we're not gonna buy there. Those boycotts have like a legitimate reason. Like it's not like, oh, they might be anti whatever. I don't get how they're coming to that conclusion.
I do think it's interesting how progressives have gotten mad about the recent successes of the what would be considered the conservative boycotts. They're like, oh, you can't do that. That's wrong. You're just bigots. It's like y'all did the exact same thing for years with the whole cancel culture bullshit. Like this is like, turnabout is fair play. And it's just, I don't know. Everything is going fucking gay.
I mean, that's why Overwatch 2 is going to have a whole Pride event. So they've always had like a you get a Pride skin or something like that. You get like there's a rainbow. The character is holding a rainbow flag. That's going to be their new emote or something like that. They've always done something like that, but this is the first time they're having like a Pride event like in the game.
I guess this makes me happy that like the only thing I really play is Destiny, or like Destiny hasn't. I don't think they've done any like ridiculous Pride.
They haven't done anything in the game, but they did donate to like they donated to like the company Bungie donated to like Planned Parenthood or something like that.
And that, I
because
mean,
of pro-choice stuff.
I don't really get worked up over like corporate donations and stuff, because these companies donate to everyone, like anyone and everyone that they can put money in their pocket, that they think it can gain them some influence, some level of being able to get something out of it later on. Like it's
favors. Like they're buying favors. Like that's
like there was a big deal that was made out of Jeff Bezos donating money to all of these like Republican congressmen and stuff like that. But then when you look at all of the Amazon and Bezos donations, like those were really small. And they also made a lot of really big ones to the DNC and to Democrats. Like there are all these people that, oh, Jeff Bezos is a right-wing neo-Nazi. Look, he donated to this Republican. I'm like, did you see all the money he donated to Democrats though? Like this dude's just putting money in everybody's pocket to make sure that everybody like
he always wins.
He always wins.
I play both sides, so I always win.
Right. Like that's what he's doing. And that's the way all of these like corporate. So I don't get too worked up over, oh, this company donated money to Planned Parenthood. Oh, this company donated money to the NRA. This company don't. It's like it doesn't fucking matter. They all donate to everybody. Plus, it's a tax write-off. Like every bit of that's a tax write-off. If you're smart, you're donating a whole bunch of money to a whole bunch of dumb shit with the hope of favors later and big tax write-off. So I never get really pissed off about that stuff. It's if it actually becomes a part of the game. And it starts to bleed over into the things that I enjoy, because the reason I want to go sit down in there is so that I look exactly like those kids with my mouth open, drool coming out, just complete dumbass mode. I just want to enjoy a game and not have to think about anything outside of that. So if there's a Pride event coming into a game, fuck that. I'm gonna go play something where I can just blow people's heads off. I don't need all that shit. And Destiny does have a gay character. I didn't know that he was gay until like 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah. Like we were doing when we were playing one of the things, and the character is it has like a voiceover part in the background where he's like talking to you during your mission, and mentions his husband. I was like, wait, he's gay? I'm like, I've been playing this game for like, I don't know, 6 years. How did I just now pick up on that? Like, and that's the way that it ought to be done. Like,
that's better writing, I guess. Like it's not like that's not telling you like, hey, like it's just saying like this is my husband, blah blah blah. Not like I am gay. Hear me roar.
Yeah, it's the Steven sent me like clips on Instagram of these like gay man. It's like the gay superhero, and that's like everything about him is that he's gay. Like that's the problem with the writing on a lot of the stuff these days is like you'll see shows, and I don't care if they race swap or they gender swap or make a character gay or whatever, as long as they do it well. But every time that they do it in these shows, then they make it all about the character being gay. They make it all about the character being black or a woman or whatever. It's like, if you just write a character and that's, the character is what one of those things, but you build the character up as more than just that thing, cool. But when that's the only unique thing that the character contributes to their existence in this, show or movie or video game or book or whatever, like when that's the only thing they bring to the table, it's fucking worthless. It's piss poor writing, and it's a disservice to the minority groups that you're representing, because you're representing them as only being able, as the only thing that they bring to the table is that they are that minority. Like they're otherwise worthless to society if they weren't that thing.
Well, it's like with the event. So like if they're gonna have a proud event, like why are they not having we saw that with the Dodgers thing. Like I don't know if you saw the Dodgers thing. So like they were gonna have a proud event, and then all of a sudden, because so many Christians like spoke out against these people, because they were hosting an anti-Christian group and at the pride event, and so the people, Christians like basically said, like they have a lot of Catholic fans, so they were saying like, hey, like we don't like this. So then they said, oh, we're gonna have a Christian faith and family day, like, and then it's like, well, you can't just play like you if you're gonna play both sides, you have to play both sides evenly. Like you can't just like act like that this is okay to play. Like if you're going to play both sides, if you're going to have a pride event, you need to have a Christian event. You need to have this or that. Like if you're going to play those kind of, if you're going to have those specific themes and have those kind of things, you need to play it evenly across the board. Not like not just have one thing. That's how I would see it. But I guess these corporate executives are all a little bit, let's just say, retarded.
Shit, where is it? I lost it. Fuck. There it is.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.